you scoot 3 inches to your right.
Frozen again.
Well, nope.
It's not that bad.
I know, but it's not what we
It
want.
is, I know. But it's a recurring thing that we just need to fix. Yeah.
I don't know how to fix it because I had it fixed. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay. Well, I could just do this one for an hour and then you can fix it. Then I got a clubhouse at 2:30.
Okay.
All righty.
Hello.
Isaac.
How are you doing, guys?
Hang on a second. Volume.
Can you hear me?
Turn that
Good, guys.
on. Can you hear us, guys?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Here we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
You sound great.
Perfect.
Okay. Good. Silly camera. Fancy camera doesn't want to work. Freezes. Okay. 2 weeks ago, we had role play. And the reason why that's so important is that you might be good at digital marketing in terms of the skills of building landing pages, running ads, that kind of thing, but you don't know how to close deals and you don't know how to diagnose issues. And I believe that's actually more important than any kind of technical skill that you have. And whether you're an agency owner or you're a business owner, your ability to communicate is more important than your digital marketing skills. So what I'd like to do today is continue that role play where people can come up and you can either be the agency or you can be the client. So come up and select which role you want. Tell me what the situation is, and I'll play the other side, or maybe even Tristan can play the other side. Sounds good?
Sounds
All right,
great.
who wants to be first?
I can go.
Okay.
I can try. I think the last time, Dennis, I think you were on the, was it the agency side?
It's up to you. I don't remember which one. I've done this hundreds of times, maybe thousands.
Okay.
What do you want to be?
I think I won the test of being on the agency side.
Okay.
With you being an experienced market participant. So you're going to ask me questions that will challenge me, you know.
Okay.
So,
and what am I doing? Who am I? What kind of client am I and what's my need?
Your need, it comes across as, you know, I would say full service. You have not been pleased with your last agency, what they've done for you. So you're looking for an agency to really centralize your efforts. That would
What
be
sector am I in? What industry am I in?
I would say, I would go with home improvement.
Home improvement. Okay. So tell me more about my situation.
Okay, so you run a home improvement shop where you you sell like everything from like tiles to, you know, stuff for like, you know, some fittings for the house and showers and these things.
Okay.
Because of the pandemic, your traffic has fallen, you know.
Okay. What city am I in?
Yeah.
What city am I in?
I'm in the Caribbean, but let's go with Miami.
Miami. Okay. Pleasure to meet you, Isaac. I've heard from other digital marketers, especially in Conquer Local Academy and Digital CEO, that you might be pretty good at digital marketing, but I'm also cynical because I've been burned by the last few digital marketers that I've hired. So tell me, why should I hire you?
Okay, so as a digital marketing agency, we work really hard to understand where you are now and get full clarity on where you need to be.
Okay.
We don't offer a cookie cutter arrangement, because if we just give you a package that we have, it may not be exactly what you need. So can you tell me a bit more about what was the main challenge you had with the agencies you worked with before?
Well, as an independent hardware retailer in Miami, they charge me these fees and speak all this technical jargon at me. And I'm a simple business owner, and I just want to see more people come into my store and buy tiles and other equipment. And they couldn't link those things. They said, oh, SEO takes a long time. They had all these arcane processes. They didn't seem to have their people together. I got the sense they farmed off work to other people, but they weren't really in charge.
Okay. So getting directly to the pain or the challenge you're having now, would you be able to know how much traffic you're getting now?
I have no idea. Look, I go to the hospital, and if the surgeon asks me, do you know, what kind of tools are being used, or what kind of blood pressure, what kind of machines were used in your last surgery? I'll say, I don't know. It was witchcraft. I went to some hut and the shaman did some procedures on me. I don't really know. I'm hoping that you have the expertise. And right now, because I've been burned the last couple times, you're guilty until proven innocent. So I need to know that you have the expertise and you've done this before for other home improvement companies.
Sure. So I still want to, before I get into what we do and who we've worked with, I just want to kind of understand a bit more from as a business owner. Do you have a number of how many visitors you need to come into your store for this to make sense for you?
Yeah. Ever since the pandemic, our traffic has cut out a lot. Certainly Florida is a different situation than New York and California, but we used to have maybe 300 people through the door every day, and we're down to half that. And we really need to be above 200 to be profitable.
Okay. So you're saying to me that if we were to put a plan in place to move you from your current 150 to back to 300, if we can do that, would that be success for you?
Well, tell me, what's it going to take? Can you do it? And what's the plan? What's it going to cost me?
Absolutely, we can do this for you. One of the first things that we have to put in place is a way to track this, because if we don't know the numbers, we don't know if we are improving anything at all. So one of the first things that we put in place is the ability to track calls, to track traffic, to track visitors, leads on your website. Once we have that in place, then we could have a conversation that's focused around.
But Isaac, most people, they just walk into the store, right? I'm in Brickell, which is North Miami. It's a nice area, and people just walk in. So how are you going to track these people? They may or may not be coming to my social media or my website. I don't have any lead forms because people, they want to come in and buy equipment. They're not filling out a form.
So one of the things that we normally would recommend for businesses such as yours is to have some type of loyalty type program that would capture their information on when they're at the cashier. We give them something that will also encourage them that if they were to come back within a certain time, they get something that, so it's one way of tracking it, as well as through the campaign that we run.
But Isaac, I'm an independent hardware retailer. I don't have a loyalty program. Are you saying you've built loyalty programs before?
Yes, we have, and we have successfully been able to implement it. And with these loyalty programs, either via email or via text, we've been able to even re-engage people who bought 6 months ago for the different promotions that we have run as well.
Okay. Yeah. But I don't have a point of sale that supports loyalty programs.
So we'll have to look at that and see how effectively we could put something like that in place for you. But ultimately, the money is in the data and our ability to track.
Isaac, I need more people to come to my store. And if people are searching in Google for the different products I have for home improvement, I want them to come. I mean, certainly a loyalty program might be good, but do you really think that's the priority?
I think it's one aspect. It was just a response to your question. So if someone comes in and we don't know where they came from, and they didn't come from an ad or they didn't come from the website, so at least there's some level of accountability with what the numbers look like. But to address specifically the issue of someone searching on Google, certainly we can track that, and optimizing your presence on Google is critical, because that type of high intent search, someone who's specifically looking for what you do in your area, we need to
Uh-huh.
own that, So,
Okay. Well, that's what all the other SEO people told me too.
okay.
But they had no idea. And when it came down to the specifics of how to actually get me more visibility in Google and what
Okay.
they did.
Okay. So we have a proven system that we have deployed for many clients over the years, and where we will take you through a step-by-step process. You can be as involved in it as you like, or we can just do it for you and give you the specific updates. But we basically are able to do work on your website, on your Google My
Yeah.
Business, on your social media assets,
Yeah.
and we integrate it into a very simple report
Okay.
that can be more granular if you require.
I don't care about the report. What I care about is the results. So I know enough to be dangerous about things like Google My Business. Tell me, what will you specifically do to get me more traffic when someone types in window replacement parts, or tiles for my backyard, or pool pump?
So now you're speaking about a combination of two things. So we look at Google My Business optimization, but we also look at what your SEO looks like. So specific pieces of content. So from content, as in specific pages that we will create,
Okay.
we'll add to your website, as well as certain high value pages that we'll create that will have these keywords on them, as well as we will guide you in creating content, either for you or someone on your team who is part of the face of what your business is, that we will be uploading to various channels as well, including your Google My Business.
So I'm not good at creating content. Can you just do that for me?
So
look, I just own a home improvement store. That creating content, doing social media, that's not my thing.
You can't begin to imagine how many of our clients have said that same thing to us. And what I could assure you is the authenticity of you as the person they will interact with, or someone on your team, is what resonates. It's the reason most of local businesses thrive. And coming out of the pandemic, it's been our experience that most business owners have been willing to try a bit more than they would have done in the past.
Yeah.
But rest assured, we will give you a framework that you could use to make simple 1-minute videos that could take you from being unknown to being known.
Okay. Why don't you show me an existing client you have and how you're doing their SEO and the content they produced? You can go ahead and share screen here on Zoom.
So I don't have a client like that, actually. That's a lot of our clients are very large businesses that don't have individuals at the front. But I wanted to kind of, get that.
Okay, so that's fine. But you say you're very large. It might be. I'm starting to think maybe I can't afford you. How much would you charge me?
So our operation is actually based in the Caribbean. So one of the benefits of that is that our team, although we are based in the Caribbean, we are Google partners, we are HubSpot, so we are very highly trained, but our price point allows us, based on where we're located, to offer a price advantage to you than an agency that's based in the United States. So our retainer packages start at $1,500 a month. Yeah.
Okay. And what's in the 1,500?
It would include everything from monthly consultations and advice. It will include social media activity. It will include the ads that we run. It will include retargeting campaigns and SEO on a monthly basis.
Okay, so includes ads then?
Correct.
The ad spend?
Not the ad spend, no. Ad spend is a separate cost.
Okay, how much do I need to spend on that? So give me a total budget. So I pay you $1,500. What do I have to pay in total?
So it really depends. We would try to establish a baseline of what it takes to hit the target numbers that you want. We typically would recommend that clients start with, $1,000 to $1,500 of ad spend, depending on the geographical area that they're trying to cover as well, and the channels that they're trying to engage. So if they're trying to do Facebook and Google as well. So
most agencies, they do the same thing where they charge a retainer. But I want an agency that actually cares about my performance. Are you willing to do a performance deal with me?
I've never been asked that.
I mean, it's easy just to charge a retainer all day long. Now the risk is all on me, isn't it?
Yeah. So quite honestly, I'm open. I've never been asked that question in that kind of way, but I would be open, because ultimately I have confidence in what we do and our approach and our strategy. I would let you know though that if we break the record on this, you'd end up paying us a lot more than the retainer that you would have mentioned.
Yeah, if I'm making more profit, I'd love to do that. So the average customer that comes in, they have a retail value of $78 when they walk through the door. And we make a margin of about 10%. So let's call it $8. I'm willing to give you half of our margin on every new customer that you can prove that you're able to deliver. Does that sound like a fair deal? I'm giving you half my profits. Is that a good deal? But you got to prove that that customer came from the marketing efforts.
So,
because you're the
I
pro
would
digital
say,
marketing, right?
yeah. So I would say yes. It's fine. What I was actually calculating is your traffic that you expected against that value to see where it compared with the retainer. So, but yeah, I think it's more than a fair deal if you're willing to give up that much of your profits towards marketing, provable, marketing activity.
Okay, great. All right. So how do you think
That's a
Isaac
good
did?
point.
All right. So that's the end of our little interview. How did Isaac do? Guys, what do you think? I'd love to hear your feedback. I have some thoughts, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
Tell me, I could take it.
Yeah. How do you think you did?
He said, "Tell
I
me,
think
can
I
take
did
it."
okay. It's not my typical client arrangement. So I'm just trying to process, and this is what I think I wanted for myself. You're going into new experiences. You're comfortable in what you know. Not a lot of our clients are led by individuals in that kind of a sense. I found myself thinking a bit about that rev share concept. It's not, we've never done anything like it before. So, but again, if the question is asked, you have to be able to respond, so.
Okay. By the way,
I
every client,
yeah.
don't kid yourself. Every client, you're working with individuals. You're working with humans. You're talking to humans. So your ability to communicate clearly with other humans, whether it's a large company or a small company, is key. And the larger the company, the more important your communication skills become, including management skills. So the first thing I was looking for was some kind of authority that you knew what you're talking about. Some kind of, and we know there's 3 components of authority: who, where, and what. So who else have you done this for? You didn't have any of those. What other examples can you show me? You said you had a checklist that was step by step, but you need to show that to me. Show me that website. Show me the content you've created. Show me these different items. Don't tell me, show me. You ever heard of that? Show me, don't tell me. The second piece, which is related to authority, is I want to hear that you are confident, not in a fake confident salesperson kind of way, but I can trust you, because the last thing you want to hear from a surgeon is, oops. And I need to know, because part of it is clarity in public speaking.
Right.
So when you have ums and ahs, when you have pauses that are not thoughtful pauses, it causes me to think that you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
More experience, more at-bats is how you become clear. You won't hear ums and ahs from me.
Right.
You hear complete sentences from me.
Right.
When I use ums and ahs, it's intentional to try to get my level down to sound more human, because if I speak too perfectly, people will think that I'm a robot or a salesperson, or I'm reading a script. I'm not reading a script.
Or an ass.
We're live. Right. Or an ass. So I want to humanize myself in some cases, but only do that when you're coming from a high authority situation. Also, you want to lead with example. So when you are able to take control of the way you take control of a conversation is by asking smart questions. So I drove that conversation, right? I was running the show, wasn't I? That means you've lost.
Right.
Now, you did try to ask some questions. What are your customers worth? How many more leads and sales do you want? And it is smart to start by talking about tracking in conjunction with what their business goals are. So that's good. But you've got to be able to drill in deeper and then back it up with active listening. Active listening is reflecting back what that person said. I didn't hear you reflect back because it sounded like you were busy trying to sell me instead of demonstrating that you're listening.
Okay.
So you were listening to respond instead of listening to understand. And this is the kind of thing you absolutely need to get pro at. Everyone here in this call, this is how you close deals: is you show empathy, you show active listening. And when you've shown active listening, you know that's true when they say, yeah, that's right. So you want them to say that. When they say, that means you're winning. And then the moment that happens, you've established what's called rapport. You then say, and let me tell you about what we've done for this other client in this other situation. And maybe not in home improvement, but in this other industry that shows that we know how Google My Business works. So I gave you 5 or 6 opportunities to demonstrate that you've delivered results with Google My Business or PPC or SEO, and you didn't give me anything authoritative or comforting when I asked.
Okay.
That being said, you wanted me to be a little bit more difficult as a client, right?
Yeah.
I can be on boss mode if you want, right? I can be easy, medium, or hard, right? Whichever way you want. Most clients are not going to be this difficult.
Yeah.
But you did say be someone who's been burned by agencies the last few
Correct.
times.
Correct.
So I'm coming in cynical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What will typically happen is that you'll get a referral from somebody else because they're a client, because they're a friend, because they heard you on a webinar or in Clubhouse or something like that. And they are predisposed to wanting to work with you, which we consider patients that come into the emergency room. If someone comes into the emergency room, they're not questioning whether the doctor's good at surgery. They're ready to buy. You just need to give them some level of comfort that you know what you're doing, that there's a fit. And when you can actually print out these documents and you can produce them, I think I was putting the chair right here. I love these props. I pull out these props and we have them. It's not enough just to hold them and wield them. You want to flip through them. And you want to flip through them in a certain way where they can see the pages.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, this is our process. When you do this, you've closed the deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've done it hundreds of times. Close the deal.
That's a thick book too.
Yeah, it is.
Thick.
Good luck.
The Bible.
Good luck reading it.
Kim, you raised your hand as well. Did you have a question or a statement or?
I did. It wasn't a question, but hello everyone. I just wanted to give some feedback to Isaac. I came in a few minutes late into the interview, and I wanted to say that when you could not speak of a client, that's when you lost me. That's when I said, okay, I didn't want to play, right? So that's all I wanted to share.
Yep, Dr. Kim, that's exactly right. So that's what we call authority. So Isaac, you've got to establish your authority. Authority comes from who, where, and what. So I need to know who else you've done this for. I need to know what. How are you? Here's the what, right? I need to see these. I need to see this kind of proof,
right?
And that it applies to me. Mm-hmm. And where else have you done this? Where else have you spoken? Where else have you trained? I gave you an opportunity to show your videos, to show this content creation, and I intentionally opened that window for you by saying, oh, I don't want to create content. Can you create it? And you say it's easy. Show me, right? Don't tell me. Just like Dr. Kim said, and by the way, take this all in love, right? You want direct feedback. I can sugarcoat it. Mm-hmm. But when I ask for a client example and you duck me, mm-hmm. then you've lost trust. Mm-hmm. So you've said, I work with a lot of these really big companies. What really big companies? What have you done for those really big companies? So if they're really big companies, why are you willing to work with someone like me? I'm small.
So the context I was thinking, because it's not our, and to kind of just give a context, if I could just show this, and maybe it's a point of something that we have to look at as an agency as well. Can I share my screen? Okay.
Yep.
So this is our work page, right? So in Trinidad and Tobago, where we're based, we've built the website for Häagen-Dazs. I mean, so we do a lot of, Maritime Financial is a $2 billion insurance company here. Yeah. I have never even met the CEO, but we have built the website. So our agency, it's a big leap when I look at the way, this program is structured around the personality, because our team, we have 15 members on our team, and we are almost such B2B that the heads of most of these companies have never interacted with us directly. We interact with their marketing teams,
right?
And we build their campaigns. So they're not buying us because of me or even our leadership team. They're buying us because of the strength of how many employees we have, the platform that we build on, the technical knowledge of our team, and then the fact that we are HubSpot partners, Google partners. So I'm not used to that one-on-one of us speaking to win in that sense. It's really 200-page proposals and the technical jargon of their compliance teams and that kind of stuff, So from dealing with, but it is something that we want to get into a bit more away from these board companies that we work with, where we have to do a presentation to a board specifically to be able to work with that mid, type of, context. Yeah.
just because it's a larger company doesn't mean that you can skip on the communication skills. If anything, I'm going to make this point I just made. Your ability to communicate and your ability to broadcast your authority and speak clearly is even more important. So when we had Nike as a client, I never got to talk to the CEO at Nike.
Okay.
But I got to talk to some other people who were pretty important. And we had to put together some lengthy proposals and SOWs and documentation and meetings. How do you think we learned how to create documents like this? It was because of our huge clients, right? Because they demand that level of inspection. It's a multi-agency situation. No doubt you have technical prowess in Trinidad and Tobago and building these websites, Haagen-Dazs, these other sorts of folks. Make sure that that comes through. If it's on your website, mention a couple of them. It doesn't mean talk on and on and on about them, but just mention some of those brands to give some level of comfort. You didn't mention a single company.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Dr. Kim was getting at.
Yeah. So I take the point. At that point, I was thinking of the home improvement context, and I wasn't able to connect the brands that we work with. And I'm thinking, okay, so we don't have any home improvement examples to give you in that sense, but we have done it for other industries and other types of businesses. But
well, then you say that.
Connect,
connect.
But
that. You chose home improvement, right? Not me.
So again, it was a real test. It was really a test, So
Okay. Good job. Yeah, this is tough. Trying to beat the boss level is tough. All right, I think we have Alicia next. All right, Miss Alicia.
Yes, hi. So I wanted to bring something up because this happens all the time. When people ask you a question and it's one that you've never been asked before, there is a way to either make them feel brilliant or make them feel stupid. And in order to make them feel brilliant, acknowledging that question and giving them that wow factor, like, wow, we are going to have such a great relationship because I love the way that you think. I've actually never been asked that question before. And it's brilliant. Even if you don't have the right answer, then you're going to let them know, okay, I'm going to get the answer. I get this a lot from Van Desta. The other thing is when you were asked about the share and performance, what you're doing right now to me is performance based, right? Because here's the thing. They have the ability, most likely, to end services with you. If at any point, Isaac, you are not happy with our services, I don't want you to stay with us because I'm not here to take money. I'm here for us to build a partnership where we can be successful together and we can grow together and we can scale together. That's the relationship that I want to have with you. So it's not about nickel and diming you to see how much I can get. Now, that being said, I'm going to do my part. And my part is to bring you these leads, to bring you this traffic, to get you the people. Your part is going to be what you do with them. What if you decide to double your prices or cut them in half? So as much as I appreciate what you're saying, we can't really do, a revenue share, but we can share in the responsibility for growing your business. And I think that's what we have right here. So that's a good answer. My feedback.
Yeah. There's many ways to answer that particular question.
That's a great answer. Yeah.
The main one is that you say it's month to month and we measure everything, but we're not willing to go to a rev share right off the bat because we want to inspect. We're not going to operate on someone until we've done the X-ray and we've done our analysis because there's things that you have to do and things that we have to do. So what we want to do is we want to date before we get married. So we'd love to do a retainer with you, do that for a few months. And if we like each other, then the mechanics of setting up a rev share are worth the investment. Right? Because that's a significant investment. If all the risk is on us, that's not where we like to start. Right? That's the way to answer the question. All right, Alicia, you wanted to role play?
Let's do it.
It's easier to criticize than it is to play, isn't it? Let's go.
So who are you going to be? I'm ready to be vulnerable.
All right, what's the situation?
Whatever Isaac picks.
You don't want to pick one for yourself?
Okay. I will pick a. Yeah, go ahead. Whatever.
What kind of situation?
Yeah, I think let's pick somebody who doesn't know anything about digital marketing and is going to be sticker shock no matter what great price I'm offering.
How about this? How about some rather than a theoretical thing? How about a situation that's going to be meaningful for you, Alicia,
Okay.
based on your goals, based on the clients that you want to have, based on the situations that you want to be in? Let's make something relevant to you. And if you don't have one, then that's okay. Think about it. We can come back.
Okay, let's come back then.
Okay. Who's next? Mr. Arthur, maybe? Or Nate? Or we have a couple of our teammates here, Cole and Alejandra. Who wants to be next? I can play easy too, but it's more fun on boss mode if you want to play expert mode. But it doesn't have to be that.
And it doesn't have to be an agency sale, a package deal. It could be any tough situation with a client, a customer.
Any situation.
Okay.
You name the situation, we'll role play it.
Let's suppose that we're 6 months in, we're not getting the results that we thought. I think that they need to invest more time in this process, and they're ready to go look for another agency.
Okay.
And I don't really know how I'm going to handle that, so that'll be great.
So you're the agency or the client?
I'm the agency. No, I'll be I want it to be hard for me, but I also want to learn what to do properly in that situation. So what should I be?
Either one, you choose, and we'll go.
Okay, I'll be the client.
Okay. You want to play, Tristan?
This is a specific situation you've already done, right?
Yeah. Give us more context about who the client is, what their goal is, and what failed.
No, this is not a situation that I've done. It's a situation that I expect I would be in as I build up my client base, just because people don't always understand what their results are.
Okay, and you're the client who's 6 months in. You think you're ready to cut off and go to another agency. What services did you sell? What was I guaranteed, expected, packaged?
You had an SEO package, and you had a local ads package, and I'm thinking that you have been approached now. So once people start to see, oh, this company runs ads, people start to approach your clients. So that's what I anticipate being a possible real example is them being approached by other people who are going to say, we're going to do a better job for you. Let us try. Dennis. But Dennis wouldn't go after my clients, but somebody great like Dennis is going to try to come in and say, we can do better.
The people that go after clients are not the best in digital. I never go chase clients. I never knock on doors. I never do free 15-minute phone calls. They come to us. And we have a seminal article on that saying emergency room surgeons don't go knocking on doors. If you're good, everything's by referral. People come to you. There's no need to ever cold call.
I do really want to be working mostly on referral, to tell you the truth. I like that business model a lot better.
Yeah. You know, in my 30-year career in digital marketing and building websites, do you know how many cold calls I've made?
How many?
Take a guess. Dr. Kim knows what the answer is.
4?
0.
4.
Oh, that's 3. That's funny.
0.
Okay.
So certainly when you're established, it's easier.
0, but 0. I just had my fingers. Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with the other 3.
Okay, so in this case, Dr. Alicia, because we work with a lot of doctors, you are the client. We are the agency. We're 6 months in, and you have called us dissatisfied. You're thinking you're dissatisfied about the service, and you're looking at other options, and we've got to confirm that we're going to keep moving forward. Is that the situation we're playing?
Yeah, you're keeping me.
We're keeping you. Okay.
Yes, you're going to get me to renew.
To renew. So our contract is up. Our 6 months is up, and we're going into the next 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fantastic. All right, Dr. Alicia, whenever you're ready, kick us off. Let's do it.
Okay. I'm just a little bit concerned because I thought that I would get more help.
Yeah, Dr. Alicia, I totally understand. When you say more help, we're looking at your goals, content, and targeting that we established. And you said you were looking to have about 10 new patients a month. And we exceeded that 4 out of our 6 months. Our first month, we had a ramp-up period, which we agreed on. And in our reports of what we've done, what we needed to do, and what we needed from you, we executed everything that we need. And so we're hitting your goals. Let's dive a little bit deeper in that. Is there something else going on in the business that maybe we just haven't helped you with yet?
Well, I want to know how I can do that better. And I just think like, okay, I see you guys are bringing clients, but I don't understand really what you're doing, and I feel like we should be getting more clients.
So we're already working. It's already working, but we want to get more, of course. So we have a couple options when that happens. Looking at your reports, we can see we can spend more on ads. They're already profitable. We don't need to scale our retainer. We don't need to scale anything that we're doing on our side. We can just scale our spend, and so far they're not burning out. We can test that over the next 3 months because we've already got proven processes here in place, and we can see how that goes, if that's okay. Then we've also got other services that you haven't used yet that we could try as well. But I will warn you, outside of Facebook ads, outside of just Google ads, when we dive into SEO and starting to operate on your site, that is a longer process too. And when we kicked off your audits and we weren't able to really work with your web team to change all of those pages, we did inform you that that would be an issue. But we would love to take that project on because we believe that's what's holding us back too.
Well, I guess I just sometimes don't know what to ask for, right? I don't know what other services I can get. This is new to me, and I understand that you are really performing. I think I just want more help to understand what else can I do. And I can't ask you those questions because I don't know. And I thought that I would get a little bit more support. We hit that goal. You're right. We hit the goal at 2.5 months in. And so, I really would have liked if at 4 months you would let me know like what else we can do. If you see that we're killing it, that's great. I'm not saying that we didn't kill it. I'm just saying that that's where I would like the help. When you see that you would come in and kind of take some ownership as the expert, the ones that's helping me, and let me know, hey, we can also do this. Or I saw that we just killed that goal. We, met it 2 months before we expected. And that's the kind of help that I'm looking for.
Yeah, Dr. Alicia. So first, as your account manager, that's 100% my responsibility to let you know when it's ready to ramp up. And, we'd like to go far, we'd like to go fast, but most importantly, we like to do both together. And we find that some doctors like yourself don't like to be bothered when something's working. They like to keep going, and then they have their other teams. So by all means, we'll speak up more and be able to get that process in place. So we can revamp that audit that we looked at, and going forward, now we know on a monthly basis, we can tell you what we believe the next steps should be, even if that means stepping on the other agency's toes. We also don't like to typically step on agency's toes, and we totally respect that you want to go faster. In fact, that's the perfect client for us. Someone who wants to step on the gas and someone who says, hey, show me more, help me more. By all means, is what we want to do. So on a monthly basis, we'll do that. And if that means stepping on another agency's toes, here's what we'll do. Pull them on a call. We'll talk to that agency and you on the phone at the same time on a Zoom. We've done that with many clients who have different websites that are managed when we think that that's the roadblock. And we'll either come to an agreement where they'll fix it free of charge, these problems that we're facing, or we'll take it on for you, okay?
Well, I don't necessarily want them to know that I'm looking at another agency, because it's my uncle's, sister's, brother's, neighbor's best friend.
Yeah.
So there's a relationship there. So, I just I have to be careful of those toes because they may end up at, the Christmas dinner or something like that. So how would you handle that?
Well, we've worked with a lot of uncles, sisters, brothers, cousins before, and we know that relationships and businesses can be kind of muddy, especially when you're working with family. I've hired and fired my own family members. It can seem difficult. And I don't want to say that because I'm not trying to prep you to fire your team or anything like that. The beauty of everything that we do is we have a checklist. We have objective
I kind of want
measurement.
to fire them. Can you do that for me?
Here's what we'll do. Instead of firing them, we'll give them our checklist and our process because we want to give them a fair chance. And if they can execute our checklist and process for your site and for your SEO, then it's a win-win because they're going to level up their skills and they might even want to work for us. We've actually poached other agencies by accident Just because we give them the checklist, they level up their skills and they want to work with us. So we'll do that. And if they find they're not willing to make those changes, which does happen, I will warn you, Dr. Alicia, sometimes they are not willing to change, then we'll come to that decision and we'll take over and we'll execute the checklist instead.
I'm so done. You have this whole vibe. So you're doing all of these things. Okay. First of all, like you're leaning in, right? I mean, we're on Zoom, but you're like Dr. Alicia, so it's very personal and it's intimate. And then you're smiling the whole time. And then you're telling me that you're going to empower people who are working for me without any, extra pay on your end, and that you're going to help me make them do a better job. So I really can't be mad at that vibe at all. Thank you. It was so good. You did so great. Fantastic. Thank you. And it was actually really helpful. I hadn't thought about an approach like that, to tell you the truth. I think that's going to be really memorable for me. Because even though I'm not of the mind of completely, it's competition, I do appreciate collaboration. I hadn't thought of it in that way. And I think that one of the really cool things is that if you can build that relationship with other agencies that are partnering with your client, then together you can get those better results. So I hadn't thought about facilitating those relationships and nurturing them and making them feel like we're a team, because without doing that, it was just so interesting. Without doing that, they may be talking shit about you behind your back.
And we've dealt with people on both sides of the sandbox who like to play nice and those who don't, who like kick sand, right in your face. And there's two different frameworks that I kind of use in that approach. One is everything that we do, I call it the team system. It stands for tell everyone about me. So you're the client. So it's objectively about you. So if the other agency doesn't want to play nice, that's not my problem. That's your problem. And I'm going to help you fix it. Right. So I'm not going to get mad and offended that they suck. I'm going to show you an objective list of why their stuff sucks and what we need to do to fix it. We did this to a website developer like 2 weeks ago, to a whole team. That's charging like 20 grand for stuff that just doesn't make any sense for a client, basic standards. Then on the other side, the framework that I like to think of just in the agency space in general, and I talked about it last week on Office Hours, is buy, see, feel. So clients, first, they want an ROI. So that's buying the result. And we already established that we're winning. So that means you're either not seeing enough work, not seeing objective, you're not seeing the checklist, but you kind of know it's working. You're pretty positive because we send you the report, or you're just not feeling like the warm fuzzy. So I'm mentioning the checklist. I'm always mentioning the checklist, by the way, side note for Cole and Alejandra who are on here. I'm always referencing the checklist and showing you this is what we're doing for you so you can see. And I'm showing you what we've done. And then it's the warm fuzzy about feel. Because if I've taken care of buy and see, then I could just be a person, right? And in Isaac's case earlier, we were talking about being in the business of helping people, not really like B2B or local. It's dealing with a person. We've already knocked over the first two pillars here. So now it's just about me and you having a good time. So when you tell me your brothers, sisters, cousins, nephews, niece-in-law is having this issue, that's not my problem either. That's your problem, and we're going to solve it together. And I've already got a framework to do that.
I also want to say that going into this, just for your reference, so I know who you are, right? I know, like, I'm so lucky to be hearing from you, and you're an expert in this field, and you landed Dennis as a partner. And he was super excited about partnering
Best sale
with
of my
you.
life.
Like really, right? Really great. So obviously I already have the highest respect for you. But what I tried to do going into this is I tried to tell myself, look at this little know-it-all. This young, so I tried to go into it with that mentality, right? Just as the role playing, right? Like trying to be resistant to it. And you really won me over there. So I think, like, for younger people as well, that approach, very quickly, I no longer felt like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about, or he's just trying to get a sale, or he's something. In fact, it didn't feel at all like you were trying to get the sale. It really felt like you owned responsibility, for my concerns. You immediately said, okay, we can meet. We can start meeting every month and we will do that. And you warned me without telling me it's a warning. You didn't say, I'm going to warn you, you might piss off your other agencies. You warned me several times. Okay, I will do that, even if it means, so I'm hearing that. But that was also fantastic too, because I was no longer looking at a face or anything. I'm just really hearing this value, and you directly answered all my questions. So it was awesome. You get an A+.
Thanks, Alicia.
Can I add?
Sure.
So what I saw was, and I'm thinking something totally different because I'm not in the mindset of an agency. I'm in a mindset of am I being served or not? And so what I saw that you were determined to serve her, to provide her the service that she needs, regardless of if it will cause some you having to step up and interact with another agency to share. You, like, the fact that you took ownership of your part, the fact that you were willing to ensure that she was clear, and whatever it is that she needed, you were there to say, okay, let's have a conversation about that. So what I saw was a servant willing and able to provide whatever service that was needed to ensure that the client was satisfied and clear on what it is that the relationship was in place. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. What also I didn't do was promise something that we couldn't deliver, and I didn't create something new, and I didn't fake it.
No.
We use a checklist, so that wasn't made up, and we do this all the time, so that wasn't made up either. And so every concern that she had, I could reflect back and say, well, we've done this before, and there's a situation for this, and if I'm understanding you correctly, this is what I think we should do. Well, thanks, guys, for the love. But
I was going to say that really came across, because the one thing that I saw was that no matter what the question was, you didn't get flustered at all. Which is something that in a conversation like that, when somebody's half wanting to fire you, it's very easy to get flustered and become super defensive. So that was brilliant. I took quite a few notes there.
How about Cole or Alejandra, JP, Nate? What do you guys think?
I wanted to say that was great too, because that gives me affirmation for a situation that I recently came up with, as far as what you were doing with helping the other agency. I literally was telling my wife this morning that I had a referral, and it's a therapy agency, and we were doing a quick 10 or 15 minute call so that I could basically sell her the snapshot report and charge her for that. And quickly, when we came across her Google My Business, she goes, oh my gosh. She goes, that's not our address. It's no wonder people keep going to our old location. And the problem is that you can't send the postcard because she's no longer there. And the phone number is correct, but it rings into a system that she can't just pick up and get the code, because Google would have to punch the number to get to her. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be on talking to Google with Google My Business on another situation. I'll just bring yours in. So I did that. And just as kind of a free service, just to earn that respect or that authority from her to help the process along. My wife was like, you're not charging her for that? I was like, well, no, because I was already talking to Google. It's been like 15 minutes of back and forth emails is all. So that was cool to hear you say that, because, you don't want to do stuff for free, but at the same time, I think if it helps your rapport with the client, then I think you go further with it.
Yeah. That's worth it to build trust. That will pay off for you in spades, Nate.
I saw Cole on mute.
Just going back to your response in that role play, something I noticed about your responses is that they were all almost kind of followed a formula of, I hear your problem, here's what it is, practicing active listening, and then saying, here's exactly how we can solve this problem using the checklist we already have in place. So I love that no matter what problem she brought up, you kind of had a formulaic response of, I hear you, here's the problem, and here's exactly how we can fix it.
Yeah.
That's literally our day, like our work day. It's like, hey, we have a problem, and Dennis and Tristan are always like, here's the checklist, check it out.
Yep.
And I want to say the one thing that I was looking for you to answer that you did immediately, it's the only one thing that I had an expectation of was for you to clarify what I meant. Because it was a really arbitrary thing to say. Like, I just expected more help. And so it was good that part right there was what was able to lead the conversation, because it could have been in a so really different way. But that was the one thing I was like, I knew you were going to, but still, you know, he's got to clarify what the heck does help mean. So.
Not gonna lie, I had no idea where that was going. Just because most conversations, you said that it was the real root of the problem here was that your cousin's nephew, you know, the whole line. But it could have been that your office manager kind of sucks as an employee and they're not doing their job. And you're kind of afraid to tell me that or face the fact of that. Right. So how are we going to audit their work? That's the same thing, is that you're working with someone else and they're not really doing their job. It's not that you're looking for other people. It's that you've actually got an internal problem. And we weren't able to unpack that until we got there. So,
yeah, it almost always is an internal problem. I'll just tell you, in being thousands of these calls. The other thing, too, that you notice Tristan does automatically is that he treats everyone at the partner level. If you put yourself in the agency consultant model and you're here and the client's up here, there's always going to be a disconnect, and it'll be like a salesperson versus a customer. It'll be a waiter versus the person eating the food, right? And you never want to be in that mismatch situation. So even to say agency or client can often create that imbalance and authority. But if you treat someone as a partner, then that means there's things that you're doing and there's things that we are doing. And together we are winning because we are on the same team executing a particular plan. Now, you hear a lot of people say, hey, we'd love to be partners, but they don't really know what that means. We classify partners as we are working together towards the same goal. And when we align on that particular goal, like Tristan did by saying, well, you said that your goal was to achieve this many, 10 new patients a month, and we hit that 4 out of the 6 months. What he's really saying subconsciously is, let's just make sure we are in alignment on the goal, and then see where there could be a miscommunication or other kind of difference. And by the way, this is fundamental negotiating. So technically we're doing some client agency practice, but understand whatever we're doing here is for any kind of communication. Because if you are wanting to level with the other person, then you have to put it at the partnership level. There are some cases when you're not going to do that, such as they're employees that you are looking to hire, maybe, right? So it's an interview. That's different. That intentionally is setting up a differential, right? Or maybe you're firing somebody. Clearly, you have to establish authority because you want to have that differential because you're about to terminate somebody. But in most cases, you're establishing a peer-to-peer relationship. And when you do that and you have the empathy, the buy, see, feel that Tristan talked about, it's almost always going to resolve, because 95% of conflicts are because of a lack of communication, not because of any true underlying issue. And if you want to get further negotiation, there's a book by Fisher and Urey called Getting to Yes. It's an old-fashioned book, but it is still a classic book on how do you establish rapport.
And if you are an employee at an agency and there seems to be some sort of disconnect between a management layer or between your assistants or whatever that is, the fastest way to get on the same level is that person practices active listening and says, you're right, here's the problem, here's what we're going to use to fix it, and I've created the path for that to be fixed here, right? And then you never have a disconnect. And when you work with big teams, his team probably works with a lot of teams. You have to make sure that both teams know that we're not in this kind of lopsided relationship. Both teams have to be at the same level based on those goals, content, and targeting.
I just wanted to add two quick things. One, if I may, I love how you dealt with that goal alignment. I think that is so incredible, because so many times you could be working really, really hard, and some of the client may lose sight of what the goal really is. And you were able to bring it back into context. We established the goals and we have delivered on that as well. And I think genuinely you could have felt that you actually cared. And I think that is actually priceless, that you felt that. I just want to add, this whole dialogue around communication and negotiation is really, I think, one of the, how do I say, one of the areas of weaknesses with a lot of agencies. You have agencies who can't do work and their work is crap, but then you have those who can really work and they're just weak in their ability to articulate or come out of a situation like this, because in this case, it was handled so well that you're able to build on the relationship. In another situation, the agency is doing great and they just don't know how to deal with this conversation, and that would have represented the termination after 6 months of great work. So it's really, really, thank you so much. It's really, really well done. Very, very.
And to Isaac's point as well, that's not just an issue with agencies. It's an issue with human beings in general. Yesterday, Dennis and I were joking about making a course called People 101 and just walking through these situations, because if there's one thing I've learned from selling Dennis as my partner, to Lisa's point, is the osmosis of learning how to communicate and absorbing it in every level, because I hear all of his conversations, obviously, no matter who they're with. So I'm learning to level up in my communication down to my written communication as well. And it's very difficult. It is very, very, very difficult. We stop learning to communicate in kindergarten, really, once we learn the words, because then we're just doing English tests. That's not communication, writing papers.
Yeah. And Isaac, you're exactly right. It's rarely a lack in digital marketing skill. So certainly in these weekly office hours, we will troubleshoot to figure out how to turn campaigns around and rank on keywords and mess with PPC campaigns and all of that. But really, to your point and Tristan's point, the biggest lack is communication, because that's not taught. Where were you taught how to negotiate? How did you learn how to empathize? Or frameworks like buy, see, and feel? That's just not being taught. And most people have this erroneous idea that 95% of work is task-driven execution, when really it's the exact opposite. It's 95% in your communication. And what I'd love to see with you guys as you put this into practice, you'll find yourself in many situations each day, not just in an agency situation, but with your kids, with family, with friends that you play poker with the cashier at the grocery store. You're going to find that every one of those interactions gives you an opportunity to practice active listening. And you'll find that when you connect better and you build rapport, other people will smile. Other people will have a great time. You saw Dr. Kim break out into a smile a bunch of times because we established rapport. So what causes a smile? Because it creates identification, right? And you can see that she's beaming right now. And Mr. Arthur, same thing. Right? I was watching everyone's expressions as we were going through this to be able to see what level of rapport Tristan and Alicia were able to establish. And did you see everyone else's faces? It's like a polygraph test. That's your test of how good you are building rapport. What do you think, Mr. JP? You've been watching part of this.
Hey, guys. So two things. First, fantastic hot seats today. Isaac, thank you so much for stepping in front of the firing line, and of course to Tristan and Dennis.
Hey, by the way, Isaac, I give you an 80. I give you an 84 out of 100, so that's a solid B. Don't think, but I was trying to get you that extra 16. You wanted me to be hard, so don't take it the wrong way.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got just a tremendous amount of contextual information from that and learning from the back and forth. So thank you again to all parties involved. That was fantastic. Tristan, to your point in terms of communication, I have a background in neurolinguistic programming, and I know that both of you guys do too. And to that degree, it really is interesting to listen to, vocal patterns and that sort of thing. Communication is critical when it comes to the negotiation stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like with Radio Shack, right? It's all the nonverbal. That's why you get it out of email and into a real conversation.
So on that note, there's 2 points. The first is we're still negotiating that deal, and it's interesting. I can provide some information there. But the second is, and Tristan and I discussed this last week, I'm really doing my best to sort of rewire my brain from outbound to inbound. So on that note, I was able to get a referral And a good friend of mine contacted me and he said, hey, I have a friend who's a software developer, 20 years in the business and needs help. Would you mind having a sit down conversation? So we did a Zoom, and it was originally booked for 15 minutes. We ended up doing a 45-minute session. And by the time we were done with that call, he wants to do effectively everything. And the reason why was because I wasn't talking through the lens or a frame of a salesperson. I was talking as a strategic partner, a trusted advisor, et cetera, so on and so forth, all the things we talk about on this call. So again, I just want to, throw it back to you guys. Thank you again for all of your help, your support, and sharing all of this information so we can level up and upskill our agencies.
Fantastic. Well, what do you guys think? 10 out of 10? 10 out of 10?
10 out of 10.
Definitely.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, I enjoyed it.
Can I share again?
Yeah.
I don't want to hog, but so I have two things. One, I want to say that when it comes to us being ourselves, we question ourselves. We doubt our abilities. And so, or what can be perceived as we dumb down. And because we're not sure how the person that we're speaking to is perceiving us. And so we go in unsure and it shows up because we're unsure.
That's
and so I would like to say, when you go in clear of who you are, regardless who you're talking to, it doesn't matter. When you go in clear of who you are, because you know who you are, that makes it so much better, and your confidence will stay there. Because what I know is no one is better at being you than you. Like,
that's right.
I can't do Tristan, I can't do Dennis, but they can't do Kim either, right? So it's owning. It's owning who you are and taking that with a servant attitude or mentality and going that route. So at the end of the day, you show up and show out the way that you need to be, right? And so I always say it's easier just to be. So, so just be. So that's the one thing I wanted to add. And the other thing I wanted to ask as well, and I wanted to share this, is that just to get some feedback. And I know what to do, but I want your guys' insight. So one of the things that I work with is small businesses, and you hear all the time how all the corporations are putting all these billions of dollars out for small businesses, diversity, inclusion, equity and inclusion. And what I'm finding is that they're putting that stuff out, but what still exists are stringent requirements that still keep the small businesses out. So in other words, for example, what is it? Citibank just put something out, and they said apply to our foundation. And so they want the small businesses to apply. And in the application, it says, give us 3 years of your audited tax statements or your audited financial statements. Well, when you're talking about a small business,
right, who
has the funds to do the auditing? Because that's expensive first and foremost. And so here, what I'm saying is now we're at this situation where that's what all the corporations are doing, so they can say, yay, this is what I'm doing. But in reality, you're still keeping us out because of all of these requirements. So in my head, I want to create an ad and run it for $1 a day on Facebook. I got that from you, Dennis. So I just wanted to back on what I'm sharing. And if you guys are hearing the same.
Amen. Yeah, it's tough. What you were saying echoes what JP was saying about NLP, because NLP is not a technique so much as is building rapport. Yeah. So you got to learn to balance both of those. It's not about manipulating other people. It's about truly being yourself, which then creates this level of comfort and authenticity because you're not having to play some kind of mask.
Yes, absolutely.
So we have Ishmael, who's been here the whole time observing. I imagine if he might have some thoughts.
There's notes.
Oh, wow. Wow. Look at those notes.
All of that, it's you, Dennis. I've learned
Wow.
all of that from you about 3 years ago. From 3
Three-
years of 3
3
years
years?
ago. Yeah,
Wow.
all of that.
That's a lot of thoughts. He has a lot of thoughts for today.
Yeah.
Well, how about share one from today? You've got a lot, but just pick one.
I was partnered with one of my friends. We have built a small digital marketing agency here in Egypt, but it's not. It doesn't go well. Sorry for my language. It's my second language. I'm from Egypt and Middle East Africa. Sorry for my lack of language. I was the CTO. You was my mentor and my hero. So I learned everything from you. I've learned how to manage funnels, how to manage video funnels from digital marketer. I was blitz of metrics. I have your chart here. I printed it because I know I can't get it from you. So we partnered together. I was doing funnels and the mindset, how to manage ads, how to create ads. So it didn't go well. We didn't go well because I can't manage many people under me. I can't have to manage. I'm focusing how to make ads, how to make funnels, how to manage ads. So I didn't get well to manage many peoples. So everything didn't go well from that. So I'm starting to build a new small agency. I'm taking course in management, how to manage people, how to build a team. That's what I'm learning now.
So congratulations on getting these clients. And when you're hiring other people, that's a sign that you're doing good work. But then there becomes a people management issue. And once an agency gets above 15 or 20 people, you start becoming more manager than you are worker. Once you're above 50 people, it's all about management and processes. So the good news for you, Ishmael, because you're such a good student and you've been studying the game, is that we have an account manager course. It's our level 4 team lead course on how do you be a good account manager. And then you can also learn how to manage your account managers. And we find, just like you saw with what Tristan did in that role play, you need people on your team that are like that, or like Alejandra, right? And that's how you stop problems before they escalate into becoming bigger problems. The thing that underlies that is having a clear framework for your agency, choosing one vertical that you serve in Egypt. So maybe it's chiropractors or real estate agents, but serving one particular type of company so that you can offer a very specific package to all of them. And that makes account management a lot easier. If you have a lot of different clients, then every one of them is custom, then the load and burden on the account manager becomes much, much harder. And if you don't have strong account managers, guess who the clients go to? They go to you every time, and that won't last. So make sure you have that structure of your agency that then has a package with a process behind it. That process is how you operate. That process is also how you get new clients. So it ends up being one and the same. That's why we don't have to do any sales and marketing, because we take such good care of our customers that we don't have to worry about that. That's what drives the inbound. But make sure that you go through our account manager training and the level 4 team lead training, which we're merging together. Because you're a member here in Digital CEO with office hours, you get access to all the training. You can send a note to Stephanie at blitzmetrics.com to get that. And we just launched our new academy too a few days ago, which you guys should be getting access any day if you don't have it already.
Thanks. Thank you for that.
So glad you're here.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I think that concludes today's session.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was 10 out of 10.
That was
I think
amazing.
Tristan should just run all of them from here on out.
I've done the last 2, but I don't think I should run them all yet. We've got a lot of technical components to dive deep into over the next few weeks. I think you guys will love that. The people side of things we should probably do half and half on each one, where we're talking about how to handle the situation that we're in, and then also the technical components, because learning all the tech doesn't matter if you don't know how to tell it.
Yeah. Would you guys agree? Both sides? Yeah. Put it in the chat. Balancing the technical side with the relationship people side.
Tech or teach.
Yeah. All right, guys. You rock. We'll see you next week.
Yes.
See you, everybody.
Bye.